what's good, y'all? It's your boy J Suave. I'm the host of J Suave TV. And y'all see the backdrop. I'm here to talk to y'all about the latest Last of Us episode that dropped this past Sunday. Very somber one. If you know, you know. Obviously, we picking up after the events of what happened at the end of episode 2. And I'm gonna just say this. If you didn't watch that episode and you have not played the game, even if you played the games and you didn't watch the episode, go back and watch that episode. That's probably gonna be the best episode of this season. I'm telling y'all right now. This episode does so many things that the game just couldn't do. Literally said by Neil Druckmann himself, there was so many things that they were able to focus on in this episode that they just couldn't do in the game because of the game mechanic. Because it's a game, the characters can't really sit and just process the fact that Joel died. We gotta move on to the next part of the game. As people playing the game, yeah, you pissed. Joel just got taken out. My commentary YouTube watchers such as myself, you probably heard a lot of people pissed off after what happened to Joel and how Abby did him. Not only has the show done a great job of providing that context on why Abby and her group did what they did to Joel, instead of the game having to wait hours to even find out part of her motivation. In this episode, we not only get to see how Joel's death affects Ellie, but the whole town. We also get introduced to another group in this episode called the Seraphite. We get them a lot earlier on in the series too than we did the game. We also get to see them get taken out too. I wonder who did them so foul in this episode. Anyway, I've been talking long enough at the intro. I'm gonna get right into the episode review. Y'all already know what I gotta do before I get to yapping. Like, comment, share, subscribe, do all those things. Let's talk about that Last of Us greatness real quick. We start the episode with Tommy in a room with Joel's now deceased body. He's been tasked to wash his brother's body before they put him in the ground, and it's really tough to watch. Any younger sibling having to do that to their older sibling in a world like this, I really felt for Tommy in this moment. He didn't even say anything, but you felt all the emotion in that room. To make things even worse, you see Joel wearing the watch that Sarah got him for his birthday in the very first episode of the series. Definitely another one of the changes from the game that I appreciated. And speaking of changes from the game, we get another one in this next scene where we see the town reeling from the attack that they incurred in the last episode. We see people hospitalized. The whole town is in disarray. And I didn't know what to expect when I was seeing this. I'm gonna be real. I thought we were going to sit in these moments for a good majority of the episode. But we do skip past it after we get to Ellie, seeing her screaming as she regains consciousness, remembering all that happened to Joel in that cabin in the snow. I'll be hating on Bella Ramsey talking about she don't look like Ellie. This show trash. Why couldn't they get an actress that looked more like Ellie? She put on a phenomenal performance in this episode. Last episode and this episode, to be honest, like I really felt her scream when she regained consciousness in this episode. They literally had to put Shorty back to sleep. She was going through it, understandably so. But like I said, we don't sit in these moments for too long. We actually fast forward, I believe it's 3 months. We see Ellie having a conversation with the same therapist that was talking to Joel in the first episode. He has to see her before she's released, so she's asking her how she's doing. Ellie's capping saying she's good. Now, the therapist also asked her if she was able to speak to Joel before everything happened. And she says no, which I'm hoping she was capping about. We see a conversation later on with the therapist and Tommy where the therapist is basically just flat out calling Ellie a liar. So I'm hoping one of the things that Ellie lied about was her interaction with Joel in the end, because it would be so sad if they really did not get to talk before Abby did what she did, bruh. Now, if it is the case that they did not talk, I do think we're going to get a flashback scene in this season where we see Ellie and Joel have a conversation regarding what he did at the Firefly base. So she could really get her shit off, because I feel like that would be an appropriate conversation to have. I was watching a video breaking down the game the other day, and dude in the video was saying, yeah, Ellie's mad that Joel died, but she's probably even more pissed that she started to finally consider forgiving him right before Abby did what she did. It's like, damn, as soon as I decided to forgive you for that shit you pulled 4 to 5 years back, now you get taken away from me. It makes her motivation that much more personal. Actually, just remember the YouTuber, shout out Fat Brett. Ironically enough, this was a video breaking down Ellie on her villain arc, like the one she's about to go down in this season. So the therapist lets her go, and this is when we see Ellie go to Joel's crib. My son got a nice spot too in the middle of town. It was sad seeing her walk through his crib though, I'm not gonna lie. It really got me when she went to his jacket and started crying over it. I was like, damn, bro. Like, she got there so last minute. She couldn't even talk to my son Joel. But we see as soon as Dina pull up to the crib, she gotta wipe them tears. She not trying to look soft. Dina pulls up to check on her, see how she's doing, to have a conversation. And this is when Dina breaks the ice to Ellie that she knows who ran up on Joel. 3 months later, she didn't tell her no time in advance. She herself already knew not to do this. She was, I think, encouraged not to do this as well by others, because they knew Ellie wouldn't just sit down if she knew who took Joel. She would be out the hospital bed in a second. Of course, Ellie's gonna be pissed though, because it's been 3 months, so at this point, they probably already got away. But it looked like Dina been tracking them. She got their names down pat. Shout out my son Manny. I did not know your name these first 2 episodes. Now I've got it registered to memory. I think one of them are named Nora too. And then Dina tells her that the one who took out Joel's name is Abby. And the way Ellie repeated Abby after the fact, I said, oh yeah, she's #1 on her list. Without even writing her name in the death note, I already knew her days were numbered. With this new information, knowing that a trial is coming up, they talk to Tommy to see if he'll side with them. They try to convince Maria and the council to let them send out a group of 15 people to go after Abby and her group to get justice for what happened to Joel. He says, of course, but not before we see a little bit of arguing between Ellie and Tommy, where Ellie's saying, yo, if it was you who got done up like that, Joel would have already been halfway across the world to find out who did what they did. Tommy argues, yeah, he would, but he wouldn't if the town was in a critical position. Honestly, I really don't know about that. Now listen, Joel is my GOAT, but we know he'd be a little selfish at times. If Tommy got smoked, I guarantee you Joel would be outside looking for whoever did it in a heartbeat. He's just unapologetic like that. I can't blame him. In this situation with Tommy as the leader of the town, I understand that he has to watch over his people and prioritize them first. He says to Ellie, if they're gonna do this, it gotta be smart. We also see Jessie telling us something similar to this when they at her crib, that she's gonna need to do more than just yell in order to sway these people's opinions. So when we get to the council meeting, we see Ellie writes down a note on why she believes they need to send a group out there to go get justice for Joel, because it's not really just for Joel or for Ellie, it's for the whole town. He says if any of them had gone through the same thing that Joel did, she wants them to know that she would ride for them and she hopes that they would do the same for her, etc. And lo and behold, my son Seth is supporting her argument. Seth, of all people, the one who's coming at her and Dina in episode 1, done turned around. Now, obviously, he probably still feels how he feels about that situation, but in terms of justice for Joel, and mainly the town itself, he is 100% behind Ellie in that perspective. But unfortunately, the town is not trying to let go of their manpower in case of a potential future attack while they are away. But this is Ellie we talking about. She's not about to let the word of a couple of townsfolk sway her from what she's trying to do. She gearing up to leave town, really not even gearing up at all. More like packing a single bag, giving herself a pep talk before she hits the road until Dina pulls up. And Ellie thinks that Dina's about to try to talk her out of doing what she's about to do. But Dina got this shit all figured out. She got a map, she got supplies, she's ready to hit the towns with Ellie. See a lot throughout this episode. Dina and Ellie's relationship really start to blossom. They were already friends before, but we see them flirt with the idea of potentially being more than friends in this episode. But if this episode confirmed one thing for me that I already knew about Dina from the game, shorty is a ride or die. They're about to hit the road, but they first run into Seth, who gives them a horse to head up out of there. My son really going for 6th man of the year right now, doing whatever it takes to ensure that the main character sees her goal through. But before they leave Jackson entirely, we see Tommy tell Ellie that Joel and a lot of the other people who lost their lives that day are about 10 miles from the town. So Dina and Ellie go to visit Joel's grave, and this is so sad, bro. We literally get a wake and a funeral all in one episode. And what's crazy is that Tommy nor Ellie say anything when they're with Joel. And I think that's so effective because you just feel the raw emotion between the two of them. That anger, the sadness, the grief. There's a point where Ellie's at Joel's grave. You could tell she's locked in with him at that moment. But then she looks up and you already know she's walking her own path. Shout out to the title of the episode. Now, something that the therapist said to Tommy earlier on in the episode that I thought was interesting was that, yes, Ellie is doing what she's doing primarily because Joel did how he was. But this is a path that she's forging on her own. Meaning she don't got to go about things this way, but she's choosing to because this is the only path that she sees brings justice to Joel's life. I thought that was a very interesting perspective to bring up in this episode. We see Ellie and Dina traveling through the woods going over to Seattle. It's real cute vibes. We see them posted up at one point in the tent. Dina gets to asking Ellie about how their kiss was back at episode 1. And Ellie rates it a 6. You know Dina fine ass was not having that. He also goes on to tell her that that kiss was more than just a kiss to her. So you know Ellie feeling herself in this moment. She got a little emotion. There might be something there, y'all. They make it to Seattle, but before they do, they see a group of people laid out. I'm talking about their lives was taken from them indiscriminately. Seen this group earlier on in the episode. They're called the Seraphites. And something else that I didn't even pick up on until I watched it inside the making of the episode. This group is being led by a father and daughter. A direct parallels of Ellie and Joel. But unfortunately, like I said, their lives get taken. Ellie sees the laid out bodies. And I'm thinking, who the hell did them like this? Like, genuinely, I've seen so many gameplays for The Last of Us, but I really have no idea who could have done them this foul. But you already know Ellie is thinking it's the WLF, the Washington Liberation Front. Now, Dina already told her about this unit earlier on in the episode and how Abby and her people are potentially a part of this group. Yeah, there's no confirmation that this group did it, much less Abby and her people. But with everything going through Ellie's mind right now, seeing what Abby did to Joel, not having any added context on why she did what she did, and just doing whatever she can to make Abby look like the villain, that's probably going through her mind right now. But like I said, Dina and Ellie finally make their way to Seattle. And no lie, it's a good looking overrun city. Shit, I might rent out a property over here if I was in the Last of Us universe. This should look alright. You see where they enter the town, somebody is contacting a group over the phone. Turns out it's the WLF, and we see they are mobbing deep. Did not see this in the game. How the hell are Ellie and Dina supposed to intercept a group of 50 to 100 people? This shit for real about to be like the 100 men versus the one gorilla situation, if the one gorilla was two young girls. I don't know where I was going with that last point, I'll be honest. Episode gets a 7 out of 10 for me. Solid emotions throughout. Let me know what y'all thought of it in the comments.